He died with one regret, and it wasn't what you think. My name is Marcus. I'm 41 years old. People who know me would say I'm calm, quiet, and a little hard to read. I don't speak unless there's something worth saying. I guess I got that from my dad. My father's name was Joseph. He was the kind of man who believed in keeping things simple. Provide for your family, don't complain, work hard, and pray quietly. He never showed much emotion, not because he didn't feel things, but because somewhere along the way he believed real men kept their hearts tucked in their sleeves, never out in the open. Growing up, I respected him. I feared him sometimes. But I also longed to hear him say certain things like I'm proud of you or I love you. He showed love in his own way. He fixed things, brought home food, paid the bills, made sure we never went without. But sometimes I wished he would have just hugged me longer, or told me he missed me when I moved out. But those words never came. Time passed. I became a man. I married, started my own family, got caught up in work and responsibility just like he did. We'd talk on the phone every now and then, mostly about practical things. The car's acting up. Don't forget your taxes. Never really about feelings, dreams, regrets until last year. It started with a small cough, nothing serious, he said. Probably allergies. But it didn't go away. Then came the fatigue, the weight loss. Then the diagnosis, stage 4 lung cancer, no cure, no more time. I remember the first time I saw him in that hospital bed, it didn't feel real. He had always been strong, unshakable, but now there he was, small, pale, fragile. A man whose strength had always filled the room now looked like he could be swept away by a soft wind. We sat in silence that first visit. I didn't know what to say. I didn't want to cry in front of him. I thought it would make things worse, so I just asked him if he needed anything. He shook his head and looked out the window, but the second visit was different. He opened up slowly at first. He started telling stories, things I'd never heard. He told me about his childhood, how his dad never said I love you either. How he once dreamed of being a teacher but had to work in construction to help his mom pay the bills. How he wrote poems when he was younger, something I never ever would have guessed. He said he threw them all away because they didn't sound like a real man. I asked him if he had any regrets. He smiled softly. Only one, he said. I leaned in. I was expecting something about chasing his dreams or maybe traveling more or being more successful. But he looked me in the eye and said, I regret not showing more of my heart. I regret not telling your mother how beautiful she looked each morning. I regret not telling you how proud I was when you graduated. I regret not crying when my father died and teaching you that it's okay for a man to cry. I thought I had to hold everything in to protect everyone, but I think I missed out on something holy. I didn't say anything. I couldn't. My throat was tight and I was blinking back tears. But inside, something broke and something else began. We spent the next few weeks together almost every day. Sometimes we'd talk, sometimes we'd just sit. He started saying things more freely. Once when I brought him coffee, he smiled and said, You're a good son, Marcus. I don't know if I ever told you that, but I need you to know it now. It was like the dam had finally broken, and in the last stretch of his life, I got to know the version of him I had always wished for. 2 days before he passed, I walked into his room and saw him journaling. His hands were shaking, but he was writing something slowly and carefully. When he saw me, he said, It's a letter for you. Don't open it until after I'm gone. I nodded. He died peacefully 2 mornings later. The nurse said he went in his sleep with a soft smile on his face. No pain, no panic, just peace. After the funeral, I sat alone in my car and opened the letter. It said, Marcus, you are everything I prayed for in a son. I may not have said the words enough, but I saw your heart from the beginning. You didn't just grow up to be a man. I watched you grow up to be better than I ever was. Don't hide your heart like I did. Let your kids see your love. Tell your wife what she means to you every day. Say the words, cry if you need to. Hug longer, forgive faster. That's what I wish I did. That's what I pray you will. Love, Dad. I wept. Not just because he was gone, but because I finally understood the depth of his love and the weight of his one regret. Since then, I've changed the way I live. I speak up more. I tell my son I'm proud of him. I write letters to my daughter for her to read when she's older. I sit with my wife and ask her how she's really feeling. I say I love you without hesitation. I've learned that it doesn't make me weak, it makes me whole. If you're reading this or listening to my story and you're holding back love because you think it makes you too vulnerable, please don't wait. Say it now, because in the end, what we regret most are the words we kept inside and the love we were too afraid to give.